Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nicky's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nicky's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nicky's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this.
Oh, hi guys. Welcome to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host, and today, guys, we got to talk about gun rights in a blue state, especially my home state of Connecticut, man. We got to talk about how fucked up our gun rights are in this state and why blue states want you to be a victim instead of a victor in this state. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on Ko-fi, guys. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, and tip to Nicky's World and also commission me for a photo shoot. If you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links we got to go through. First off is Minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut-based social media platform. They are an awesome alternative to Facebook. So if you guys value your right to freedom of speech like I do, and you value your right to speak freely without fear of being blocked, suspended, or deplatformed, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to my friends at Minds.com. Also, guys, I do have the most awesome affiliate link with Byrna. Byrna is the less lethal self-defense company, guys. They make their top-of-the-line Byrna SD, Byrna LE, TCR, Mission 4, and their newest, ladies and gentlemen, their compact launcher. So if you guys value your right to the Second Amendment like I do, you guys value your right to self-defense, but you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to my friends at Byrna.com. And full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, I do own a Byrna LE myself. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I do have the most awesome affiliate link with North Shore Medical Supply. North Shore Medical Supply, ladies and gentlemen, they make their top of the line North Shore Megamax diaper, North Shore Supreme pull up, their North Shore Supreme diaper, and their Eternal boosters, ladies and gentlemen. So if you know somebody out there that needs to wear adult diapers and needs to be put in adult diapers like I am, guys, well then, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply and they will make sure that they are diapered up and padded up like me. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nicky's World, can y'all please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? Wait, that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. And yes, guys, I am diapered up as always. I am diapered up in my North Shore Megamax diapers with my Eternal boosters, and I'm in my t-shirt today because it's nice and warm outside. So I'm diapered up, padded up. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So today, guys, I want to talk about this important topic that comes to my attention, okay? And this topic is this. I carry I carry a pistol, which is a less lethal. I carry my Byrna LE, okay? Right now I carry it because here's the reason for that. In my state of Connecticut, if I were to carry a firearm like a SIG, a Glock, or a Colt or Smith and Wesson, and even though I do the right things, in my blue state of Connecticut, they'd throw my ass in prison and I'd be sitting in a prison cell in Enfield, Connecticut. Okay? I literally would. The fact of the matter is like this. In the blue state like Connecticut, like all the other blue states, they hate people like you and me who carry a weapon, who carry for self-defense, who have a God-given right, who have rights under the Constitution. But in blue states, they don't believe in the Constitution. Democrats, leftists, liberals only believe it applies to themselves, but they don't believe it for equally across the board. They don't. I'll give you an example. I carry a Byrna LE, okay, which is their law enforcement edition of the Byrna. Byrna is a less lethal weapon, okay? It doesn't even shoot a bullet. It shoots like chemical and kinetic projectiles to basically put a guy down, but not kill a guy. But in my blue state, they are so restrictive on how you carry. It's like, my God, is it going to take SCOTUS to come to Connecticut and slap the state so far upside the head and tell them, you can't do that? That is unconstitutional. That is illegal in the eyes of the federal government. The fact that, I carry a Byrna LE, I carry less lethal because I believe in less lethal before lethal force. Okay? Lethal force is only, to me, dead last resort if you have no other option and you're basically about to be facing imminent death. So lethal force is the last resort. But for me, my primary self-defense is less lethal. It's a Byrna LE, okay? It really is. All right? But the problem is in Connecticut, and this is what I'm noticing that a lot of people don't fucking notice. There are certain places you can't carry, okay? There are certain places that you cannot carry because if you carry it, they will try to make you a criminal. They will try to make you like a thug. They will try to strip away your right. All right? I'll give you an example, ladies and gentlemen. I work for a company, okay, that is contracted by the state of Connecticut. All right? But our facility is on state property. My company told me like this, well, you can't carry it on state property because if the police show up, they will have you arrested for it. I'm like this, arrested for having a right to carry, but at the same token, The state of Connecticut is telling me you cannot, you can transport it, but you have to leave it locked up in your car, but you can't lock it in a glove compartment, because if you lock it in a glove compartment, you are going to catch another charge. Connecticut and its fucked up liberal Democrats have fucked up the system so much, ladies and gentlemen, that they would rather make you a criminal rather than like a citizen. They would rather make you like dead. They would rather make you a criminal for standing up for your constitutional right. And this is the problem that I am noticing as a gun owner in Connecticut. Democrats have become so restrictive, okay, ever since the Bruin decision, and then we have this recent Supreme Court case that's going to be heard in October about how Connecticut has become so restrictive with the AR-15, like carrying an AR-15 or carrying your gun. It's going to be heard in SCOTUS in the fall. But I'm going to tell you this right now. My thinking is like this, because it went in line with the Bruin decision. Connecticut's going to get their ass slapped in the face in front of SCOTUS, in front of Justice Roberts, and say, nope, it's illegal. The law gets tossed out the door. But then you're going to see leftist liberals and the anti-gun nuts from the Gabby Giffords group, and from the every from the moms demand action bullshit, saying, "Oh, we need to make it restrictive. We need to make sure that they can't carry here, 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 here." But then this is the problem. These people who want to restrict your gun rights so much, they would rather want you dead in a cemetery than to stand up for yourself. This is the problem I see in Connecticut here, guys. If you carry a less lethal, like a Byrna, like I do, they want to treat this like if it's a loaded gun. Even though the ATF has said that Byrnas and pepper balls are not firearms. Even though the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco Firearms, has explicitly said that less lethal weapons like pepper ball, burners are not firearms because they don't have a propellant. They fire CO2. Okay? So even though the federal government says my Byrna is not classified as a gun, my fucked up blue state, sissy, liberal, progressive Democrat of Connecticut will still call it a gun because they want to ignore the ATF and they want to be like their own fucking country. Well, if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you flee to a country that agrees with your politics? Why don't you flee to a country that bans gun ownership? Why don't you flee to that? Okay, why? That's the question I always ask. Why? But the problem is, in Connecticut, we have progressive liberal Democrats who want to restrict your gun rights so much ever since the Sandy Hook shooting. And I'm not going to go into that like Alex Jones and all his shit, but I'm just going to say like this. They want to be so reactionary that they want to punish everyone else for what one person did. That's why liberals in this country, they want to basically punish everyone in the country for what one asshole criminal did. But then the problem is liberals don't want to go after criminals. Liberals don't want to go after criminals who use a gun in commissioning of a crime. They don't, because you know why? Liberals want criminals to vote for them. That's the fucking reality in all this. That is the fucking reality here. The fucking reality in all this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that you have anti-gun nuts in this country who basically want you either dead imprisoned or a fucking criminal for just merely doing what you were given as a right under God and under the United States Constitution. Given that what you're allowed to do, okay, what you're allowed to do under the Constitution, they want to strip that away from you. And this is why I go like this. The people who want to strip away your right to freedom of speech and your right to defend themselves, to me, they're not an American. They're a communist. And commies don't belong in this country. Plain and simple. Yeah, plain and fucking simple. But this is why it's like this. I work for a company that our locations on state property. Even though the state of Connecticut is telling me I can carry a Byrna LE and they call it a less lethal, but they're treating it like if it's a gun, and they're telling me you have to abide by the same rules as if it's a gun, even though it's less lethal. You gotta treat it like if it's a gun. But that means is like this. I can carry it with me everywhere, but it's got to be locked up in a locked box that they can't get into, and that locked box has to be chained to like a chair or something. Pretty much, pretty much. That's what liberals want in this country. Liberals in this country want you dead. Liberals in this country want you defenseless, want you helpless. They want the cops to come write the chalk line on you instead of the criminal that they're coddling and they're defending. That's what's wrong with Connecticut. That's what's wrong with our gun laws in Connecticut. Okay? The problem we see here is that you want to defend yourself, you have a right to defend yourself, but then liberals will sit there and say, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's going to hurt my criminal's feelings. What about my feelings? What about my rights? What about mine? Yeah, this is why liberals and anti-gun nuts don't understand. Okay, they don't understand that. Look, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a constitutional right to do that. In recent SCOTUS decisions, like recent court decisions, like say for example, the NFA and the suppressor rules, that's all getting thrown out of the court. That's all. That's getting thrown out. The court's not gonna the DOJ is not challenging it. The court just say like this: the NFA, that's illegal. That's that's taxation without representation. That is. That's that's taxation without representation. And then to pay a tax to register your federal firearm, or to pay a tax to buy a suppressor. Yeah. So that's why the courts are throwing it out. You're seeing like this. Ever since the Bruin decision, you're seeing pro-gun groups like the NRA, the Gun Owners of America. Okay, they're going after blue states. They're hitting them with everything, including the goddamn motherfucking sink. They literally are. And the fact of the matter is, guys, blue state Democrats, blue state liberals, who would rather defend a criminal than a citizen who stood up for themselves, who defended themselves. And mind you, this is the same blue state Democrats who wanted to defund the police. Okay? They wanted to defund the police so much that they let criminals run roughshod. Okay? They let criminals run wild in their state. So much so that if you dare defend yourself, they will try to make you criminal. They will try to make you a criminal. They will try to make you so defenseless, so helpless that you got people who are going like this. What rights do I have to defend myself? Oh, you mean a right to take a bullet, take a beating? That's what liberals would have you thinking. But then the problem is, what happens if you get raped, robbed, mugged, murdered, or home invaded? Huh? Like like that Cheshire incident years ago? What are you gonna do? Because the liberal left are so coddling of criminals, especially the younger generation who don't understand the legal system and the legal process. Yeah, that's the problem we have in this country. And that's the problem that we're facing is that you got liberals who are running this country, especially the Democrat socialists, which I call the communists. They're trying to strip away your rights in the name of socialism. And this is one of them they want to strip is your gun rights. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why these people should not be allowed to run for office at all, let alone bad. This is why these people should never be allowed in power. They should never have the right to run for office. They should never. If you're a communist, you should be run out of the country in less than 2 seconds. You should be run out so fast it ain't even fucking funny. Okay? It ain't. And the fact of the matter is, guys, my state of Connecticut, they want to make you a victim. They want to make you a victim instead of a victor. They want you helpless, defenseless. Okay? It's like this. If I were to go visit a neighbor, okay? Let's say a neighbor got locked up in a psychiatric hospital, a state psychiatric hospital, okay? Let's say I go visit him, and then I'm a law-abiding, gun-owning citizen who has a concealed carry card. Lock up my gun in the car in the lockbox, okay? Go visit him. In liberals' mind, that would make me a criminal. That would make me a fucking criminal. Just for doing what the law says, but the way the liberals would say, well, you were on state property, you did this. But even though your law said that, I have to lock it. You see how fucked up that is? You see how fucked up that is in this country, ladies and gentlemen? You see the fucked up stupidity it is? It's like, let's say you were visiting the DMV just to drop off a form. Okay? Let's say you were. Merely just having it in your car, in a lockbox, that could make you a felon in the eyes of liberals. That could make you a criminal. Even though you did what the law said, you got to keep it locked in the car. You got to keep it locked. You got to. But the problem is, in the eyes of liberals, that makes you a criminal. That really does. Yeah, this is what's fucked up about Connecticut. This is what's really fucked up. The really fucked up part about all this, guys, is that liberals hate gun rights. Democrats hate gun rights. Democrats hate gun owners. The only people they love owning guns are the trannies, are the trans cult members, are the Andes and Brandy Tiefers. That's the only people they love owning guns. But for conservatives, Republicans, and libertarians, they want to strip your rights away. They want to strip your rights. They want to make you helpless, defenseless. They want you to either be dead or thrown in prison. It's pretty much that simple. The fact of the matter is, guys, regardless of what state says, federal government supersedes the state. This is my God's honest opinion, and this is my belief. All gun laws should be treated like the commercial driver's licenses, where the feds write the regulations and the states have to enforce it. My belief is this: gun rights should be enshrined at the federal level. States have to enforce it. And if blue states don't like it, go fuck yourself. It's that simple. That's why I believe like this. I'm one of those pro-gun people that believe that gun rights should be enshrined at the federal level. That means states don't have a say in it. States only have to the only say they have is how they are going to enforce federal law. Basically, you take the gun laws and the gun rights away from the state, and you say to the state, you're not enforcing that anymore. The feds are going to be enforcing that. That means at the federal level, it is going to be enforced. Now, I know some liberals will say, "Oh, what about states' rights? States' rights, states' rights." Well, we tried that, and you know what happened? We have a hodgepodge of states that will say, for example, you can't carry you can't if you're going to go to New Hampshire, for example, you can't drive through New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts to go to New Hampshire, because if you go to New Hampshire, if you drive through any of those states and you're carrying an AR-15, they make you a criminal, even though you're not stopping at the state, but you are just transiting through the state. That's why I believe gun laws should be at the federal level. That means Congress makes the law. Congress writes it. States enforce it at the federal level. Same thing like commercial driver's licenses. Commercial driver's licenses are regulated at the federal level. They are not regulated at the state level. The state level has to issue you the license. Okay? They have to write the license out to you. The feds write the regulations. That's why I believe gun laws should be treated like commercial driver's licenses. That means they should be regulated at the federal level, and the states have to enforce federal regulation. It's pretty much that simple. It's pretty much is. But the bottom line is, guys, if you can escape the blue states, great. Escape them. Get the fuck out of the blue states as much as you can. For me, our closest equivalent to a Florida and Texas is New Hampshire. That's our closest equivalent, okay? But those who can escape to Florida and Texas and all the southern states, great. I mean, great. That'd be real awesome. But for most of us who can't, we're stuck in a blue state. We're stuck because we're stuck in a state that says, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you try to defend yourself, even if you're carrying a Byrna LE, okay, even a less lethal Byrna LE, they want to treat you like a criminal. They want to treat you like a criminal. And the fact of the matter is, guys, there's been recent Connecticut Supreme Court rulings that said that you can't treat less lethal like a gun. You can't, even though the ATF, and we brought the ATF in, said that this is not considered a firearm. This is considered less lethal. But the state will try to say, oh, but it is a gun. It is a gun. But then the problem is, I could cite recent rulings and I can tell you they don't treat that like a firearm. They don't. But then the problem is, libs want you defenseless. Libs want you like a victim. They do. And that's why it's like this. You see a lot of people like street takeovers, but then it got so bad that libs have to finally had to say, oh no, we'll just slap them on the wrist. This is why it's like this. I believe like this. In blue states, they want to punish everyone else. But the people who vote for shit like this live in well-funded communities. They live in well-funded communities, well-funded police departments, and well-funded schools. Okay? But then they want to punish everyone that lives in like middle class, working class, or the poor. And this is the problem that I see amongst all the leftists, all the liberals, and all the Democrats. Democrats want to write laws that strip away your rights, but then they're protected in upper class communities where they have well-funded schools, well-funded teachers, and well-funded police departments. While you, the Joe Blow Schmo, who live in a working class town, don't get a right to defend yourself. That's why the people who write these laws live in towns that have so well funded police department that they don't care if you're defenseless. They don't care if you're being robbed, you're being raped, mugged, or murdered. They don't care because they're sitting in their nice, small, affluent communities. Let's say in like what? Simsbury, Avon, or Ridgefield, or Greenwich, or Darien, or Wilton. They don't care. They don't care. Okay? But then the only time they will start fucking caring is if it starts coming to their neighborhood. If the thugs, the criminals, okay, if the thugs, the criminals start moving in, or the working class, or the middle class, or the working poor start moving into their neighborhoods, yeah, then they're gonna start. Then they're gonna realize, oh shit, yeah, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, shit, yeah. But this is the problem we have with liberals. Liberals want to write laws that make you defenseless, that make you like inferior, that make you weak. Okay? They want to write laws that strip away your rights to carry. They really do. And this is the sad part about Connecticut. This is the sad part. Okay? The saddest part of Connecticut is that these people don't care. Okay? The only time they care is that they care if they strip away your constitutional rights. That's the only thing they care. They care about you stripping away your constitutional rights to freedom of speech, to owning a gun. Yeah, look what they did. Look what the Sandy Hook Promise shit did to did the Alex Jones. Yeah, look what they did. The fact that they can do that to Alex Jones, it's like I say, Alex Jones today, tomorrow could be you, me, and everyone else. Yeah, that's why that's why the left is on a rampage. They're in bed with socialists. They're in bed with communists. They're in bed with people that want you gone. Okay, that want to strip away your right. Okay, that want to throw conservatives, Republicans, libertarians into concentration camps. That's what they want to do. And I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, we're going to get to a boiling point with these people that we can't live in a polite society with these people. There's going to be like a second civil war and balkanization happening in this country. There is. There is. You read the tea leaves, you read the warning signs, and you like wet your finger and try to feel the air. Yeah, yeah, you read that, and I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you that is bound to happen in this country. That is literally bound to happen. That is. But the fact of the matter is, guys, in blue states like Connecticut that I live in, we're so restricted on what we carry, how we carry, where we carry, that they basically is like this. They want to, the only place you can carry is like right in your house. But if you carry to go to work, if you carry to defend yourself in public, they want to make you a criminal. They want to make you a thug. They want to make you a criminal. They want to make you like someone who like says, "Hey, where's my right to defend myself? Where's my right?" Okay? While the criminal's robbing your house, raping you, mugging you, and all that. Where's my right? You know? But then you got one party Democrats who want to strip all your rights away to the point of making you a criminal. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm not a Democrat. I wake up every day waking up and saying, thank God, thank Buddha, I'm not a Democrat. Because I grew a brain, fucking realized that Democrats want you dead. Democrats want you defenseless instead of defensible. Democrats basically want you dead in this country. It's that simple. And the fact that they want this so badly is why we don't have any gun rights in this country. We don't have any gun rights in blue states. Yeah, this is why it's like this. In blue states, if you defend yourself, they'll prosecute you more than they'll prosecute the criminal who went after you. They'll cater and coddle the criminal so much and then turn around and prosecute you to the 10th degree that by the time all is said and done, you're sitting in a prison cell wondering what the fuck is going on. Yeah, it literally is. It literally is. And then at this point, this is why it's like this. I will never ever vote for a politician who strips away our right to own a gun. I will never ever vote for a politician. I will vote for a politician who will restore our constitutional rights, who will restore our right to carry. I will vote for those people. But for people who want to strip away your right to own an AR-15 or carry a pistol or carry a less lethal burner, I will never ever vote for those people. And those people should never be voted into office. If you vote for those people, you're voting to basically let a criminal rape, rob, mug, beat, and murder you. That's all it is. You're basically voting to let them do what they want. Okay? You're basically voting to let criminals run wild. That's all it is. And that's why Democrats and liberals in this country, they would rather have you dead than alive. It's pretty much that simple, guys. It pretty much is. But I look at it like this. I look at it like this. What happened last night, I got like butchered for carrying a less lethal burner. Even though it's not a gun in the eyes of the ATF, the eyes of the ATF says this is not a firearm, but my blue state of Democrats say, oh, it is a firearm, and you will treat it like a firearm. And if you carry it in certain places, we will make you a fucking criminal. That's the problem we have in this country. And that's the problem we have. Blue state Democrats, liberals, leftists don't like people defending themselves. They don't like people owning a pistol. They don't like people defending their constitutional rights to carry. They literally don't. They don't. And that's what sucks about this country. It sucks about it. It really does, guys. It really does. But this is why it's like this. If you have the option to flee blue states, do it. Flee as fast as you can. I mean, I love to flee blue state. I love to flee New England, but I love New England. And the only New England state I will flee to is New Hampshire. Because New Hampshire is a live free or die state. Okay. New Hampshire is a state where you can go to a gun store and if the New Hampshire State Police says they have nothing against you, you can walk out with an AR-15 in any standard capacity and practice your constitutional rights to defend yourself. Yeah, but in other blue states like Connecticut, Mass, Rhode Island, they'll treat you like a fucking thug. They'll treat you like a fucking criminal. They would rather coddle and cater to criminals than to victims. Have you noticed that, ladies and gentlemen? These people will coddle and cater to criminals than to citizens. They really do. And it's a doggone shame, but blue state Democrats, they don't believe in gun ownership until it happens to them. But I'm telling you, man, you want to know how to turn a liberal into a gun loving American? Tell you what, when they become a victim of a robbery, a home invasion, or basically you know like any other crime, yeah, you'll watch them turn into a gun loving American. You'll watch them. You'll watch them turn into that, and they'll be like, "Well, I have to carry now because my house got robbed." Yeah, but sadly, you won't see it. Sadly, you won't, because you'll see liberals who will still hate guns and hate your right to defend yourself. That's why I would rather. That's why I carry. I carry, and I'll carry to the 10th degree. I'll carry so much that it won't even fucking matter. It won't. But I'll tell you what, I learned that lesson. Don't tell liberals that you carry a gun. Don't. I carry, even though I don't carry a SIG or a Glock, mine is a less lethal Byrna. Mine's a less lethal. So it's not even a lethal. But to liberals, they still treat it like if it's a firearm. And that's why even though there's some libs that hate guns, even a less lethal. This is why I live in a state where we're treated like we're second class citizens in our own state. We literally are. We literally are, guys. We literally are. Man, man, that was a good long show. That was a good long show. But yeah, I want to do apologize. I know last week I didn't get the podcast. I was so busy with work. I was so inundated because there were people who were out sick and I had to cover for so many people. So I didn't get time to podcast for y'all. Okay. I did not. All right. So I do apologize for that. And I will get this show up as soon as I can. All right. So anyway, guys, I do want to thank you guys for listening to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nicky's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.